Intentional Currency podcast. My name is Yasmin. I'm the founder of the Intentional Currency, and our mission is to help Muslim women take control of their money, build wealth in a way that's pleasing to Allah, and feel confident making financial decisions that serve their families and their communities. In this podcast, we're bringing you real conversations from some incredible women who share our mission. These women are leaders, change makers, and financial literacy advocates from around the world. Together, we'll explore what it means to create wealth that's rooted in faith and designed to have a positive impact. Each guest brings their own journey, their struggles, their wins, whether it's setting up an emergency fund, learning how to invest, or figuring out how to manage finance and family. Our hope is that their stories inspire you, empower you, and remind you that financial empowerment is for every Muslim woman who wants it. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get into the conversation. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the Intentional Currency podcast. I'm so excited to have with me here today Zahra Aljabri, who's a spiritual mindset coach for high-achieving Muslims. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing so good. Alhamdulillah. Happy to be here.
So I want to jump right into it. I know that you've had quite a few different chapters in your career, but can you give just kind of a brief overview of your kind of trajectory into this coaching space?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been, I guess, the friend who people come to it for advice. So I've always been like, I don't know, just that practical, straight talking type of friend. And after I finished undergrad, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. My parents were like, well, keep going to school then. I was like, what else should I do? They're like, get a law degree. Went to law school, graduated, began first working for CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations here in the US, and then also started an estate planning practice. And in both of those roles, you're essentially giving counsel, giving advice. And then I switched gears. My husband and I have always been entrepreneurs. We had a nonprofit at the time, and then we ended up moving to Norway for some time. And that was after we'd had our first child. And the idea for a modest fashion e-commerce was sprouted in Norway. And just the idea of having a Nordstrom of modest fashion, where anyone who of any faith could come and find dresses with sleeves, things that were not sheer, things that were fully lined. We felt like there was an availability of kind of traditional modest clothing from all of our different ethnic backgrounds. But in terms of Western style clothing, there's still a little bit of a gap, and that's what we were trying to fill. And it was through the experience of that fashion company trying to grow it, I'm smart, I'm talented, I can figure things out, I can make things happen. And the struggle of growing that business sent me on a spiritual journey, because essentially it was just like, Ya Allah, like, why isn't this going the way that I want it to go? It was doing a lot of great things. It was having a lot of success, but it didn't feel like success to me. It didn't feel like anywhere close to where I wanted to be. And the dissatisfaction, the frustration, the confusion led me on a spiritual journey, which really opened up my mind and my heart to realize just where my mindset was and where my heart set was, and that they were totally misaligned from where I thought I was. I thought I am this good girl, this hardworking entrepreneur Muslim, and basically discovering that I really lacked a lot of self-belief, that I didn't think I was worthy or deserving, that was so hard for me to receive. I won a $1,000 pitch competition for my modest fashion business. And they literally had to hound me like 3 months later because I still had not collected the check. I was so scared of where to deposit the money, in which account, should I open a different account, blah, blah, all of this drama, that I did not collect the money that I won. Like, here I am praying for wealth and success. I get it. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. So that experience is what led me to coaching. I was like, oh my goodness, if I had my mind and my heart set right, like, different things in my life might have gone a different way. Alhamdulillah, I don't regret anything, but realizing and appreciating how much that impacts our ability to do our work, to grow our wealth, to hold success, to amplify success. I just realized it was so important, and especially as Muslim women, that I decided to pursue sharing that message. Initially started out as a newsletter, and then it grew into a coaching business.
I love that. And I remember there's one post that you shared recently, and it was something to the effect of, in order to receive big things, it's a reflection of how much or how big we see Allah, or how willing we are to trust Him. And I love that you share that story, because ultimately He's big, but are we big enough to hold it?
Yes. And I think for a lot of us, growing up as Muslims in the West, we are we are taught so much about Allah, which is amazing, wonderful. We should be, right? That Allah can do anything, all of these wonderful, beautiful things. But then we're not taught enough about ourselves, just as ourselves and in relation to Allah. And so when you have just a figure that is this almighty powerful figure that's so above you, and you don't know who you really are, and you don't know how you relate to that figure, it really just throws everything off, because you're just like, am I supposed to beg? Am I supposed to accept that this is how it's supposed to be? Am I supposed to cry? Am I supposed to give up? Am I supposed to try harder? You don't know what to do. And so we cycle through doing all of those things, burning ourselves out.
It's so true. And I think that there's so many women especially, who have this belief, exactly as you said, that we have to work so hard and at the end we receive so little. And even though we're sitting and we're making dua for these big things, we have this underlying belief that it can't be easy. It has to be hard, it has to be this like long, arduous process. And I wanted to ask you, like, for women who are stuck feeling that, what advice do you give to them? Like, where do you start if you're stuck feeling like this and you're like, I see all these people around me, everything looks so easy for them, and why am I stuck?
Yes. Again, I think especially as Muslim women in particular, the way that we learned about Islam glamorizes the struggle, glamorizes the suffering. And so we have taken true things in our faith and in the world, like, yes, things are hard. Yes, there's a lot of challenges. Yes, there's a long journey for this. And the idea that, Allah tests those whom he loves, and all of these things, we've taken them, but we've warped them in a way that makes us feel like we just believe it has to be hard. If it comes easy, somehow that's not good. That's not right. And even more so than that, like, if you just think about yourself as a child, my parents, mashallah, wonderful, amazing parents, but I think I had a similar experience to many other Muslim women. Anything I received, no, give it back, right? Someone's giving you something. Don't take that money. Don't take that food. Go give it to someone else. What will your cousin think? Like, oh, you're dressed in a really pretty dress. Like, okay, well, don't make someone embarrassed. Don't, like, all of these things of just like, don't let yourself shine. Don't let things come to you easily, right? You're at someone's house, they're offering you water. Don't take the water. Why can't I have a sip of water? Like, why can't I drink at someone's house? When people come to our house, we are serving them water. Why can I not now receive it? It's literally in these small things that we were taught from when we were young. You can't have it. You shouldn't take it. Why are you receiving it? Don't be like that. You're just supposed to be giving. You're supposed to be giving. We're the givers, and you don't receive. So you have Islam, you have how we were brought up, and then it creates this mental model in our mind that anything I get, either I have to be so apologetic and so grateful and so, thank you so much, I'm so grateful, and just whatever it was, like even someone picking up a coffee for you or holding the door open for you. Oh, no, I'll get the door for you. Like, why can't we just allow it to be? Or we just literally reject it. Like, no, I got it. You can't, don't help me. I got this.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. Like, just as you're speaking, I'm thinking, like, subhanAllah, how we're just taught to stay small and convenient. And even though you're taught to have so few resources, you have to stay small, you should also give everything you have.
Yes.
And I feel like that's just so unsustainable for women.
Yes, it really puts us in a weakened position, in a vulnerable position, and in a place where we are easily at the whim of other things, right? Either at the whim of men or an employer or, our father when we're growing up. And that idea that I'm just supposed to be grateful for what I have and make do with what I have, right? In terms of like, even just thinking of the larger context of like what's going on in the world right now, or what we see happening in Palestine, Congo, Sudan, all over the world, all the atrocities, that strong, independent, powerful women are a major threat to the system. We often are not in our ego as much as men are. And if we're strong and independent, we innately, from our ability to be in community and have a lot of girlfriends and just know that we are supported, we're innately willing to take more risks, right? The early believers of the Prophet ﷺ, many of them were women, right? Khadija radiallahu anha didn't hesitate to believe the Prophet ﷺ, right? She believed what he was saying before he believed it. He's like, I think I've gone crazy. She's like, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. I know what's going on here. I'm thinking of the girl who stood up at the Microsoft event and spoke out, calling out her bosses getting fired. She has a high salary because when a woman is strong and powerful and independent, we are really able to just be very vocal and very powerful. But when we are weakened, when we don't have resources, we don't have finances, we're cut off from our family or from our community, we're not able to do that. But the more that we are, we not only empower ourselves, we do empower the men in our lives, right? The Prophet ﷺ literally needed Khadija. Otherwise, he would not have had her, right? Allah gave the Prophet ﷺ Khadija. He needed her to be able to carry the mantle of prophethood. She was a requirement for him. And so just to understand the power that we hold as women, when we are strong, when we are independent, when we are wealthy, when we are resourced, when we are supported, when we are secure in ourselves, like we do have the power to not only shift our own lives, but community, society, worldwide shifts.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that that's such a huge mindset shift because so many people think, or so many women that I've worked with have this belief that if I go towards wanting to be wealthy and going down the line of having a successful career, that they're going on a different path than their faith. Some women choose the path of faith, and so they stay home and they raise kids. Other women choose their career. And I think it's so important that both are the walk of faith. Some people are going to spend more time on different things, but aiming to be wealthy and aiming to be powerful and influential is very much a spiritual journey. And especially if you do it with the right intention, we need more women who are in places of power.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I know that you work with couples and specifically with women who want to get married. And a lot of women who I work with who are, mashallah, very successful and doing well in their careers, a lot of the time there's this misconception that if you take on that persona of being an intelligent, powerful woman, that it's going to be very difficult to get married. You're going to have issues in your relationship. And I know that you've had, mashallah, a very successful marriage, despite the fact that you are very unapologetically open about, all of your views and you help other women. How do you balance that?
Yes. So this is a place where really the mindset work comes in. I'm sure your clients, just like my clients, right? These smart, successful, wonderful women, that they're loved by their friends and their family and everyone. Wonderful women to let go. Basically, it's a mind virus that, oh no, somehow, yeah, I'm so amazing, but that's bad. That's bad for a man. That's bad for a relationship. That's bad for a marriage. Like, what? No. Like you have to let go of that mind virus that like, I am so amazing. I am so wonderful. And that is an asset. That is a plus. That is a benefit for any man who wants a great life, a great experience, a great relationship, great success. For men who might not want that, yeah, maybe you're intimidating or scary. But for the type of man that you're looking for that wants to build and rise and grow, then who better to do it with than you? So to really just ground yourself in who you are and where you're trying to go and realize that the chatter or the people who may not understand you, that's not your people anyways. So you don't need to pander to that voice. You don't need to overcorrect for that voice. You're just looking for, it's a quieter voice, right? As they say, insecurity is loud, confidence is quiet. It's a quieter voice, right? That man is going to, he's not trolling women on Instagram and leaving mean comments. You're hearing a lot of the trolls and the whatever, but you're not hearing the confident, secure man who is looking for a woman like that because he's busy building just like you are. He's also focused on his own growth and is going to have some encounter with this great type of woman that's going to lead them to connect. So stay committed to what you are. And so a lot of what my coaching work is helping women to let go of that because the conditioning is really deep. I'm saying it easily here, like let go of this mind virus, but it takes months of coaching work to do because you've heard it from your parents, you've heard it from the aunties, you heard it at the masjid, you've heard it even from, non-Muslims. And so we have to unravel it layer by layer because the main reason why that type of woman has not yet connected with someone who holds the same vision and worldview as her is because she's ashamed of who she is and she's trying to resonate down here. And so the people down here, they're suspicious of her. They don't like, you're not really one of us. You don't really seem to be down here. So she can't connect with any of them. And the person that she's looking for up here can't see her because she's messing around down here. Like, you just got to own who you are. This is who I am. This is where I am. This is what's up. This is what I'm doing. I'm not ashamed about it. Not embarrassed about it. I'm also not arrogant about it. It's just this this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to live a great life. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong. And you accept that about yourself, then you'll be able to connect with someone.
I think that's exactly what it comes down to. And you're reminding me of this one woman in one of our rounds of the Halal investing program. I kind of asked, like, what's your intention? And of course, we're all Muslim women. So everyone says, my intention is to build a well. My intention is to build a school. My intention is this. And this one woman looks at me and she's like, I just want to have a good life. Like, I just want nice cars and nice bags. And to be honest, like, I think that's okay. And I was like, you know what? SubhanAllah, like in 2 years of teaching this program, everyone gives the answer that they think I want to hear, right? As Muslim women talking about investing. But life wasn't meant to be this like difficult, long, like full of obstacles. And I think there's so much guilt, fear, and shame around asking for something good. Ask for, like, men don't have to be difficult partners. Your marriage doesn't have to be like a very big test. It could just be great. Yeah. And so the question that I had with guilt, fear, and shame is, how can someone who's in that energy, how can they, practically speaking, like, how can they shift out of that?
I mean, it's a lot of unlearning, right? So the coaching work begins with an unlearning layer, and then a rebuilding layer, and then an acceptance layer, because the fear, guilt, and shame is just prevalent. It's in the air that we breathe, not only in the Muslim community, but just in the general community. So you're really working against a lot of forces outside of you, and then also internally. Like we've already discussed, some of these things you've internalized that, like, just check in with yourself. How do you feel when you receive a compliment? If there's part of you that feels uncomfortable, that's you, that's internalized, that like, I can't receive good words. So you're talking about receiving, I want a good life, but you can't receive a good word. You can't like, oh, I love your scarf today. Oh, actually, well, my sister got it for me and really did it. Can you just say thank you?
It's so true. We're not able to receive even on the smallest scales, subhanAllah.
Yes. So I do spend a portion of time with clients like that. They have receiving homework, and they have to report back on the things that they have received. And then after they've graduated from just, if someone offers to pick up your coffee, to just say yes and let them pick up your coffee. They graduate from that, then they have to begin asking, and then making those asks bigger and bigger, because it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you're working to understand that where you sit in the world, in your home, in your workplace, in your society, is valuable and important. And you are allowed to receive. Everything is in a flow. You cannot only be giving, you also have to be receiving. To make the circle complete, you have to be able to receive, because it actually amplifies your ability to give more.
I think that's so important for people to realize. And it comes up all the time in finances. If you are consistently a giver, you will end up being a taker. You have to be able to protect yourself and be able to take something for yourself, or you end up in a position where you take more than you would have needed if you would have just protected your boundaries. You would have just, like, in my world, started saving for retirement instead of just giving everything away. And I'm curious, because you mentioned estate planning, which is such an interesting area. Do you have any experiences in estate planning, kind of specifically when it comes to women? What do women need to know about estate planning?
Okay, when you think about estate planning and you think about in terms of Islam, we think about it like, okay, once I die, who's going to get my stuff? And there's very clear rules laid out in the Quran for how your stuff, your money, your wealth, your assets will all be divided. And what people don't appreciate is that there are no rules necessarily when you're alive. So if you want your daughter to receive this, give it to her now. Change the title to the house in her name now. Give her your jewelry now, or tell her, so that during life you can be distributing and giving things as you want, and as upon your death, then whatever you haven't done in that way is going to go according to the Islamic laws. So to understand the agency that you have now and the things that you can do both Islamically and under the laws of whatever place that you're living in, to protect yourself and your family members for the future, right? And again, I think this is where women, we kind of have the upper hand here, is that we are thoughtful, pragmatic thinkers when it comes to legacy. Again, we're not driven as much by ego as men. And so we can think more clearly about like what's actually going to set up future generations of my family for success. The way that you can really begin planning for not just, giving in charity and doing good works during your life, but maintaining that legacy for much longer, you'll be at such a great advantage. So I can imagine for your clients, right? There's also this idea for Muslim women, like, okay, well, I don't want to be vain or greedy and keeping too much for myself. So what's the max I'm supposed to give? And then the rest I'll figure out how to distribute here. No, like, how can we figure out what makes the most sense for what I'm trying to do? What's important to me, right? If you care about clean water, right? Or if you care about education, or if you care about whatever it is that you care about, how can I support that thing that I care about while connecting my family to it and connecting my future generational wealth to it? So there's just so much that can be done when you allow yourself to let go again of the guilt, shame, fear, like, oh my gosh, well, I have so much money, let me just, it's Laylatul Qadr, I'm just going to give 50K to the masjid. That's great. That, no problem. Wonderful that you gave 50K to the masjid. But with a little bit more planning, could you have started something 50K that's now going to give 50K to the masjid every year without you doing anything because you planned out something?
Exactly. I think something that I love that you mentioned is that I think a part of that opening up and letting go of that guilt, fear, and shame is also really listening to your own passions and saying, okay, I have this money and I also have this passion. And so instead of doing sort of like the quote unquote, like, right, or the classic thing of, like you said, donating to the masjid, how can we give in more dynamic ways in opening up, like, environmental NGOs or these sorts of unique things that, especially as women, we tend to have a natural affinity to these different causes.
Yes. It's already established when you give women money, like her whole family, first of all, will improve already. So just understanding like the position. So again, this is like the mindset, the position, the ideas, your opinions, your thoughts, like to hold those as valuable, to not discredit yourself and be like, well, I don't know what to do with this money. Well, they say just to invest in the stock, so I'm just going to invest in the stock, even though you have some other idea or some other thought has occurred to you. Or wouldn't it be cool? Well, I don't know anybody doing that, so I can't do that. Like, no, like hold yourself in that high regard that if Allah has entrusted you with wealth, He knows. He knows that I gave this to you. I didn't give it to XYZ other person. I gave it to you. I knew in your hands, this is going to be good for you, for your family, and for others. But I think the first thing that you have to realize that I coach people through is like, it's going to be good for you. So shift how you think about it so that you can see it as the blessing, as the amana, as the trust that's given to you, knowing you've got this, and enjoy it. Don't make yourself wrong or bad. Allah gave it to you, and Allah blesses and bestows upon anyone and everyone. So just again, to be in that frame of mind of my own desire for this wealth, like you said, your friend wants a good life, having, and let's talk about that, because I feel like that's such an important thing. So we're going to combine your client and my friend. Your client who just wants a good life, my client and my friend who has the 70K. So let's say that's one person. It's like, I want a good life, right? And she goes out and she buys a nice car, she gets nice purses, she takes herself on a nice trip. And let's just say she spent all that money just on things for herself, but it's just all things to enrich herself. Now I want you to think about this woman and that someone in her life needs help. A friend calls in through a heartbreak, or her mom has now gotten sick with something. How much more capacity does this woman have to support her friend, to take care of her mom, to show up for whatever it is? She has so much more. Why? Because she's taken care of herself. All of her needs are met. A woman who is in that position now has capacity to do and give so much more, even if all that money that she spent was only on herself. Her availability to others, to the world, skyrockets. So even if you're like a person like, I just want the money for me, good, get the money for you. Get the money for you, spend it on you. That makes you more valuable to all of us. If you think you are more valuable because, well, I drive a crappy car, I have no time or energy, my kids are all up, I can't put them in daycare and they're all up on me all day. I call you, hey, I know you really are good at this. Can you help me? I can't help you right now. I'm frazzled. Can you actually help me? What good are you doing to yourself or the world? So I really want us to like shift our idea of what does it mean to hold wealth and use wealth, and what does it mean for myself to be wealthy and stewarding my wealth well or doing good with my wealth. Investing all of it in yourself would still be an amazing thing for our community that you did that. The whole ummah would benefit from that woman.
You know what? And I think especially in a generation, we were raised by the woman who never took care of herself. So many clients that I've worked with, so many of us watched women in our family live through abusive relationships and forget about a good life. They weren't even ready to get rid of a really awful life. And we were taught, just have sabr and just be patient. We all lived the consequences of that. And if only in the intention of let's heal and let's become women that can be givers out of abundance or out of overflow, how different would that be for our, exactly as you said, our community? And so if only for that, to really be women who have enough to the extent that we're able to give in such a pure way. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yes. I mean, that's why I think what your work you're doing is so valuable and so important, to destigmatize that for women and to have just rooms where women can have these conversations.
And I mean, the truth is that we can't have the conversation that I have with my clients without the conversation that you have with your clients, right? And so without having that conversation of, maybe Allah gave it to you to have more. Maybe He wants you to be rich. Why can't you retire a millionaire? Why not? So I think the work that you're doing is so important, especially as we both know, the deeper you go into this and the more you open yourself to receiving, the closer your relationship becomes with Allah. The more you can see in your daily life how much Allah wanted for you, how much He wanted good, how much He wanted to just shower you with love and spoil you the same way that we spoil our kids. And so if someone wants to work with you, what are the ways that they can connect with you, or the best ways that they can take advantage of your work?
So you can connect with me. I'm active on Instagram. My handle is called Practical Muslim, which is also the name of my company, Practical Muslim. So I really support Muslims on having this practical application of Islam grounded in the mindset that's going to support you to make the best use of your blessings. Again, to let go of the guilt and shame around whatever your blessing, whatever your asset is, to really just understand and appreciate and accept yourself for exactly who you are, and know that whoever you are and wherever you are, you can rise and go to higher and higher heights and connect with that good life that you want. So my work is all about implementing Islam in a way that supports you to do that. And I would say my introductory program is called Friction to Flow, which is going to go through a lot of the mindset work that we've just discussed, and expanding you from that place of friction where everything feels like friction, has to be hard, has to be a struggle, to more flow, that you're flowing with Allah, using your blessings, allowing yourself to receive more and allowing it to expand. And then you can work more closely with me in my group coaching programs or one-on-one. And for that, you can just email me. Email is zahra@practicalmuslim.com. But yeah, I would love to connect with anyone who needs support.
Thank you so much, Zahra, for sharing all of that with us. Thank you so much for this conversation and for all of your work. And inshallah, we will speak soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum salam.